All right, guys, let's talk about this story regarding January 6th and the insider Republican text messages. This is really interesting. So this is in CNN Politics. This came out because of the January 6th committee. So they say, read text messages, Sean Hannity, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ivanka Trump, and others sent to Mark Meadows. So they got 2,319 text messages. That's how many they got. Now, we're not going to go through all of them. Honestly, CNN should have done more curating for this article because they put so many that are just like yawn fest, annoying, stale, boring, no reason for them to be in here. Like they love this story so much that they come themselves and don't even curate the story properly to give you the meat of the things. Now, I'm going to give you the meat of it. And the meat of it, for the love of God, stop saying meat. The meat of it is actually pretty damning and pretty interesting. So first, let's go to, let me show you this first part actually, literally the first text here on November 3rd. Because this shows you who Sean Hannity is. Now, this isn't a surprise to people, but when it's laid this bare, it's kind of interesting. So Sean Hannity says to Mark Meadows, hey, Sean Hannity says, North Carolina going to be okay? Mark Meadows says, stress every vote matters. Get out and vote. Mark Meadows to Sean Hannity on radio. Sean Hannity says, yes, sir. Yes, sir. On it. Any place in particular we need to push? Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada, got it everywhere. So that's Sean Hannity, yes, sir, to a Republican operative. So, literally acting as a wing of the Republican Party, the propaganda arm of the Republican Party. Now, we already knew that was the case. But it's laid bare behind the scenes where he's, literally taking marching orders from Mark Meadows. Okay. Now, the next one I want to go to, I think it's December. See, these are all annoying, weird. December 17th, I think. No, December 20th. Here we go. Well, let me see if there was a 17th. No, there wasn't. December 20th. Here we go. So Mike Lindell gets Mark Meadows' number. Mike Lindell's the MyPillow guy. The MyPillow guy is all in on the election was rigged, it's a conspiracy, stop the steal, the Democrats are working with Venezuela and rigging the voting machines. The most insane conspiracy theories, he believes every single one of them, okay? This guy's in direct contact with Mark Meadows. Direct contact. He says, hey Mark, I thought I was supposed to text you this message. You being a man, I think it's supposed to say, of faith and on the front line of the decisions that are going to be historical. I would ask that you pray for wisdom and discernment from God. You are one of the people the president trusts the most. That being said, I want to add my input. Everything Sidney has said is true. It's talking about Sidney Powell, who's just as crazy as Mike Lindell is. We have to get the machines, and everything we already have proves the president won by millions of votes. I have read and not validated yet that you and others talked him out of seizing them. If true, I pray it is part of a bigger plan. I am grateful that on the night of the election, the algorithm of the corrupt machines broke, and they realized our president would win in spite of the historical fraud. I look for deviations every day in my business. When I find one, I investigate relentlessly until I know why it happened and how it happened. This is my gift from God that has made my business so successful. From 11:15 p.m. on the night of the election, I have spent all my time running impossible deviations and numbers from this election. I also was blessed to be able to get info and help Sidney, Lynn, General Flynn, and everyone else out there gather all the massive evidence. I have been sickened by politicians, especially Republicans, judges, the media, not wanting to see the truth, no matter what the truth would be. This is the biggest cover-up of one of the worst crimes in history. I have spent over $1 million to help uncover this fraud and use my platform so people can get the word not to give up. The people on both sides have to see the truth, and when they do, there will not be no civil war. People, including politicians, are fearing. I don't even know what that means. The only thing any of us should fear is fear of the Lord. Every person on this planet needs to know the truth and see the evidence. Mark, God has his hand in all of this and has put you on the front line. I will continue praying for you to have great wisdom and discernment. Blessings, Mike. Okay, longest text message of all time. Mark Meadows' response, thanks, brother. Pray for a miracle. Okay, all right. This guy's a psychopath. This guy he's out of it. Mike Lindell, and I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm not saying this for political purposes. Mike Lindell needs psychiatric help. He needs medicine. He needs therapy. He needs constant attention and care. He sounds like he's in the middle of a manic episode as he's writing this thing. Look at how he goes back and forth between, we have the evidence, the election was stolen, and God talks directly to me and tells me that these are the things that I need to do and that you're involved in the plan, Mark Meadows. You can't talk about evidence and proof and we know, and then in the next breath be like, Yahweh or Jesus is speaking to me about our role in the future. There's zero evidence for any of this stuff. How many times have we gone over it? 60 court cases, over 60 court cases. They lost almost every single one of those court cases. I think they only won one, and it was over some procedural nonsense. It didn't affect the outcome at all. The Arizona audit, where they went over the votes in Arizona and found out, hey, Biden actually won by more votes than we thought he won by on election night. Their Trump-appointed judges were like, there's no evidence of this. You guys are crazy. You throw it out of court. This guy is involved and at the highest levels of the Republican Party, casually talking to them. And, everybody acts like this is normal. This isn't fucking normal. This guy's a lunatic. This guy needs medication. He needs medication. He needs therapy. Like, he used to be a crack addict, like literally was a crack addict. And then he got off the drugs. He built this big, pillow company. And look, he still has the remnants of the addiction that led him to do the drugs. Now he just channels that addiction to this insane conspiracy theory and right-wing politics. And he really thinks God is talking to him. This is nuts. This stuff is absolutely nuts. Okay, so now let's continue. I want to get to January 6th. Let's get to January 6th, because I think that's where it starts to get good. January 6th, 2021. I have pushed for this, not sure it's going to happen. Mark, I was just told there is an active shooter on the first floor of the Capitol. Please tell the president to calm people. This isn't the way to solve anything. So Marjorie Taylor Greene on January 6th saying, where the hell's Trump? He needs to get out there and denounce this and call off the dogs. Wow. Okay. Mick Mulvaney to Mark Meadows. He needs to stop this now. Can I do anything to help? These are Republicans panicking because of what they see happening on January 6th. Representative Barry Loudermilk to Mark Meadows. It's really bad up here on the Hill. They have breached the Capitol. Mark Meadows says POTUS is engaging. Thanks. This doesn't help our cause. The president needs to stop this ASAP. That's from Representative William Timmons. Mark Meadows. We are doing it. So Trump Jr. chimes in, to Mark Meadows. He's got to condemn this shit ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough. So the first thing that Trump did, Trump Jr. was like, this isn't enough. This is crazy. Like, they're storming the Capitol. This is like sort of like an attempted coup. This is Trump Jr. saying he's got to go further. Wow. Donald Trump Jr. to Mark Meadows. This is one you go to the mattress on. I think he's supposed to say this is one you go to the mattress on. They will try to fuck up his entire legacy on this if it gets worse. And oh boy, did it get worse. Reince Priebus to Mark Meadows. Tell them to go home! ! And then you have Jason Miller chimes in. This guy's, all the other people seem much more normal. Jason Miller is thinking of politics in this moment of like genuine terrifying stuff happening. Like people storming the Capitol, windows being broken, just anarchy, chaos. Look at what Jason Miller says to Mark Meadows. Call me crazy, but ideas for 2 tweets from POTUS. 1. Bad apples, likely Antifa or other crazed leftists, infiltrated today's peaceful protest over the fraudulent vote count. Violence is never acceptable. MAGA supporters embrace our police and the rule of law and should leave the Capitol now. So even zero evidence, literally just saying, just blame it on Antifa. Wow. The fake news media who encouraged this summer's violent and radical riots are now trying to blame peaceful and innocent MAGA supporters for violent actions. This isn't who we are. Our people should head home and let the criminals suffer the consequences. So trying to do like a gotcha point when it comes to riots. Like, oh, now you don't like the riots. You liked them in the summer. Unbelievably low. Then Marjorie Taylor Greene weighs in. Again, this is still January 6th. Mark, we don't think these attackers are our people. We think they are Antifa, dressed like Trump supporters. Look at this. Look at this. So this is, again, on the day of, zero evidence. They think definitionally Trump people can't do messed up things. This stuff is messed up. It's got to be Antifa. The copium and the denial is astounding. It is overwhelming. Louis Gohmert. Capitol Police told me last night they'd been warned that today there'd be a lot of Antifa dressed in red Trump shirts and hats and would likely get violent. Good that Trump denounces violence, but could add and well demand justice for those who became violent and well get to the bottom of what group they think they're with. Okay. So, I'll read you, January 7th, I'll read you. Then there's one other that I gotta find. I think it was, what was it? It may have been January 17th. Anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene says to Mark Meadows on January 7th, yesterday was a terrible day. We tried everything we could in our objection to the 6 states. I'm sorry nothing worked. I don't think that President Trump caused the attack on the Capitol. It's not his fault, even though he literally said, go to the Capitol. Antifa was mixed in with the crowd and instigated it, and sadly people followed. But when people try everything and no one listens and nothing works, I guess they think that they have no other choice. Now, by the way, let's pause on that. Because this, look, keep it real. That's kind of like the MLK point. A riot is the language of people that are unheard. Something along those lines. A riot is the voice of the unheard. I'm butchering the quote, but I think you guys know. Put it in the comment section if you know exactly how it's worded. She's sort of saying that now. Now notice, when it's about a stolen election that is not actually stolen, then she's like, oh, I can see why some went down that path. When it's about, like, police murdering unarmed, innocent people, she's like, no, there's no excuse for the violence at all. No excuse for the rioting at all. It's just rampant, raging double standard. Absolutely no excuse, and I fully denounce all of it. Good. But after shutdowns all year and a stolen election, people are saying they have no other choice. I defended Trump last night on Newsmax. He has been the greatest president. I will continue to defend him, and if anyone attacks you, I hope you are okay. I feel badly for everyone. It's portraying themselves as the victim. Jesus Christ. All right, so now let's go down. Is it the 17th I want to show you? Let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene to Mark Meadows. In our private chat with only members, several are saying the only way to save our republic is for Trump to call for martial law. Martial spelt wrong. Martial. But I'll forgive her on that because, honestly, I think a majority of people think it's spelled like that. I think I was one of those people, too, until relatively recently, embarrassingly so. I don't know on those things. I just want you to tell him. They stole this election. We all know. No, you don't. They will destroy our country next. Please tell him to declassify as much as possible so we can go after Biden and anyone else. So this was January 17th saying the election was stolen. Yeah, January 6th happened. Whatever. He needs to declare martial law, and he needs to stay in office. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So these are the things that were going on behind the scenes. These are the things that were going on behind the scenes at the time. It was, oh my God, this is terrible. Oh my God, let's panic. Okay, no, blame Antifa. And then, okay, keep it real. He's just got to declare martial law because he won the election. We know he won the election. Even though no evidence of that whatsoever. So, I mean, keep it real. There's this thing that Bill Maher says all the time. And I think it's fair. He's like, you have a lot of elected Republicans now. I don't think this applies nearly as much to your rank and file Republicans, but elected Republicans now who are like, we don't really care about democracy. We care about winning by any means necessary, even if that means going full authoritarian. Okay, but own that shit. To be fair, Mike Lee, Republican of Utah, owns it. And he said he had a tweet that, again, Maher points this out all the time, that was basically like, America's not a democracy. We should care more about peace, prosperity, and liberty. Like, not democracy. I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect. Okay, wearing it on his sleeve. It points for honesty. And that's, I think, where all these people are at. Where, this, to them, they think, who cares? Like, that's secondary. That's way out there in the corner. Don't care. What I'm concerned about is us holding power by any means necessary. And then rationalizing, convincing myself, well, we actually deserve it because it was stolen, even though there's no evidence that it was stolen. Unbelievable. So this is what they were doing behind the scenes. This is what they were saying behind the scenes. Everybody on the day was panicking. They thought it was terrible. They were worried. But then that quickly turned into blame the left, blame Antifa, and then that quickly became let's do martial law. Now, if you think, hey, that's a one-off, it's just Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, there were memos internally at the White House talking about here are your options moving forward. And the options included exactly what you think they did. They included martial law, among other things. So seizing the voting machines was another one. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to be associated with these people. That's to say the least. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.